let's just show up in the room. Step out of the story of our day. Slow ourselves down to what's happening in this moment. There's a moment right here and right now where everything is fine. Everything is comfortable. Where the energy isn't all spent, it's poised and balanced. And it's covered up with your stories. Covered up with your viewpoints of your day. Pulling the energy into weird patterns. Creating burdens of energy and deficits of energy. Power games. Some of that are suggestions that you've adopted from the people in your world or from the world itself. Certainly no shortage of suggestions from our government these days. And you give it your most powerful asset, which is your attention. Your attention and your time and your belief. Take this canvas of a moment that is yours. A blank, balanced canvas with infinite potential. And fill it up with things that are not of your choosing. Whoever controls the canvas controls the world. And it shouldn't be easy to do because every sentient creature on this planet gets their own canvas. There isn't just one canvas. But the trick is to trap your attention. If I can trap your attention, I can teach you meditation. I can paint your canvas with a bunch of balanced images and different things that help you recognize that the story you're staring at is not real, it's just a painting on an otherwise blank canvas. But to do that, you have to come here, you have to give me your attention, which is like giving me your power for a short window of time. And I take that and I give it back to you in clean images. Things that are true, things that will help you. When you enter into a conversation with another person, the reason that you're able to understand each other is you let them paint a little bit on your canvas. So you get to see some of their story and the feelings that arise out of that. You get to understand what it means to be them. And you do the same for them. It's your attention. It's your power. By giving them your attention, they get to paint on your canvas. When they're done, do you wipe it clear? Or do you just keep adding to it all day? Most people just keep adding to it. When you come to a class like this, we wipe it clear so that you can see what you're working with. Sometimes you let someone paint on your canvas, and then after a while it becomes dysfunctional. You need more time in your own imagery, and people keep filling your space with their imagery. But at the end of the day, it's yours. You can draw whatever boundaries you need to draw. If you don't know how to watch politics and then clear the canvas, don't watch politics. Or get better at clearing your canvas. But the world doesn't need one more neurotic, messy canvassed person running around. You have to take your power in hand. If you're giving it to something you shouldn't be giving it to, it's time to pull it back in. Clear the canvas. Say no. No is one of the most important words in the English language and in several other languages. No provides the boundaries and structure to life. Yes gets all the kudos, but it's just energy. Without no, yes has no meaning. It'd be like having a house with no walls, with no separation. Nothing would be contained. You have to say no with yourself, and you have to say no with other people. With the type of people that are attracted to this kind of a class, it's usually one of the last lessons they learn on the path. What it means is, instead of allowing people to continue to dump all over your canvas, you draw boundaries such that you're willing to teach them how to get more deliberate with their own canvas. But if they're not interested in that, they need to go elsewhere. It's fair. And if they're ever interested, they can come back and you'll teach them. That no is a powerful gift you give not just to yourself, but to them. They don't forget that someone drew that boundary. It stays with them, teaching them. What you tolerate in life is instructive to the world around you. So we learn to say no. This ties into the shamanic teachings of impeccability. You know, there's this teaching in shamanism of impeccability, doing your absolute best in every moment, whatever that is. It shows up all over, you know, like controlling the things you can control and letting go of the things you can't. You know, that's a yes and a no with yourself. Something you can't control, you can't continue trying to control it. It's not an efficient use of energy. The more impeccable choice would be to redistribute that effort to control what you can control, which is usually just yourself. It's usually just where you place your attention. But if you do that, you're in the top 1% of human functioning. Nobody's doing that. Most people's mental screen is just a billboard for advertisement. Free advertisement. The whole world trapping your attention. If you ever wonder why you feel the way you feel, that's why. And it's for no other reason. Why do I feel this way? Because I've given up my power. Why do I feel this way? Because I have given over my mental screen to other people in a way that I don't know how to take back. I have a belief that I can't take it back. But that belief is nothing. It's flimsy. It's not based in anything. Anyone who's ever attended this class has seen it. The shift that occurs in your entire experience of the world in the 15 minutes of the first 15 minutes of stepping into silence. There are implications to that. If you can shift like that, it says something about how real the stories were. They weren't there at all. You just hadn't said no yet. You hadn't said, not this, this, and shifted your attention. The funny thing is, even knowing it for years still doesn't really make a person live that knowledge. Impeccability is living what you know, living that knowledge. It means in every moment you stay awake to the fact that you have that choice. And so it puts the responsibility and the locus of control back in your hands. You know, there's this thing that happens in my life now that didn't used to happen. You know, I always said yes to everything. I had a mentor who thought that was the way to go. But I don't anymore. I draw lines in the sand. I say no left and right. People get so used to being able to guilt anybody into anything. What they're not used to is someone saying, absolutely not. No, I'm not going to do that. I didn't make that mistake. I'm not going to clean that up. I have other things I need to focus on. People are so not used to hearing that they fold right over the second you do it. They go, oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Maybe they say bad things behind your back, but this storyline that you can't do that, this storyline that someone else gets to control your attention. If there is such a thing as sin, that's the sin. Not them trying to control you. You walking around with some dumb story that that's even one of their options. People who are easily controlled do terrible things. Participate in terrible things. Because the people who would manipulate for terrible reasons are very good at what they do. You have industries deciding what you eat, deciding your morals, deciding where the lines are for everything, all built so that they can sell you things. Telling you where to go easy on yourself, telling you where to be hard on yourself. You end up participating in massive suffering. Massive suffering of the animals on this planet. Massive suffering on the people of this planet. All because you let yourself get pulled down this trail where someone else was able to trap your attention and paint their feelings and ideas on your canvas. The whole Holocaust happened that way. That's why I say if there is such a thing as sin, that's it. Having this thing that is yours to control and pretending that it isn't. And yet for most people, it's almost a new idea. And they've let themselves get into such a weakened position that the idea that they're going to maintain their power of choice looks exhausting. The trick is to start in small, consistent ways. The more you do it, the more power you have to do it. So you pick something you can do. All right? Every single day, you are going to wipe your slate clean. Wipe that canvas clean. That can be a first step. Experience a clean canvas once a day. Walk out in your day and decide that you're going to catch one moment when you're being manipulated. And you just build. You build from there. You know, you might have noticed that you've collected all sorts of addictions and things like that. You pick something you can let go of, something you can change. And you make that change and you stick with it. And your power grows. And then you just pick the next thing that you think you can reclaim. You make choices to move certain people out of your life, other people into your life. You start to notice the interactions that you have with people. When you're giving permission for someone to draw on your canvas. And then when you leave, you decide whether you're going to wipe that clean. The idea being that anything that limits you should be erased from the canvas. Anything that keeps you from becoming what you want to become or feeling the way you want to feel should be erased from the canvas. Even if you set cycles in motion, maybe you have kids that are behaving in certain ways or throwing certain energy around. You decide what gets rewarded and what doesn't. Stop rewarding for things that you don't want in the space. Draw your lines in the sand. Find your no. And watch things change. As it all starts to get contained, suddenly there's a container for your personal power, and you'll feel more centered, and you'll be able to make even further growth and change and progress. All because you're mastering the one real power you have. The one thing in your life that's actually modifiable, which is where you place your attention. What feelings and images you allow to enter your space, to enter your canvas. And I could hand you a bunch of dogma about what's spiritual enough to make it onto your canvas, and it would just be one more person manipulating you. Take on whatever you want and see how it feels. Clear it off if you don't like it.
How do you clear it off?
You clear it off the way we do it every single time when you come to this class. You sit, you shift your attention onto your breath, and you do that until it is clear. It's going to keep coming in to try and take you away from your attention on your breath, and you just continue to not play with it. And if you do that long enough, those neural pathways that have gotten used to playing with it will let go. And when you get really good at it, you can do it instantly. But when things have been bad for a while, or if you're dealing with something really, really heavy, it takes longer. You might have to sit longer. You might have to sit for 45 minutes. And the beginning efforts might feel really oppressive because it's making these demands on you so that it can survive. But you just stay light with it, and you just come back to the breath. Come back to the breath. That's the practice of it. The reality of it, when you've practiced enough, is that you just shift your attention. You know, whatever's happening to me in my life, when I come and sit in front of you guys, the second I sit here, I shift into this space. I come here with no idea where our class is going to come from. I don't plan to speak about any of these things. I sit down and I shift. But until you can do that, you have the practice of concentration, which leads into meditation, and then you steep yourself in that meditation so that it becomes a part of your nervous system. The story of life is so loud that if you don't stick with that, life always sticks with the story. You know, the opportunity to practice the opposite is always present. You know, the second you look up from your meditation, you've got a life with kids, with needs, with family members pulling on you, you know, with work, with bad feelings. The second you give up your attention, there's a million invitations to the opposite. And so that's why you really do have to kind of just collect your power in little bits moving forward. Collect, collect, collect. Little choices in every moment of every day, not to do more than you can do, but to get right up there to that edge. That edge changes, you know, it's not all forward. All right, sometimes we get knocked down physically and that edge comes back. And so what we're able to achieve spiritually and clarity-wise is less for a while, but that's okay. There's always more, so it doesn't matter if you're at a place that's less. It just means that rather than allowing your attention to be driven mad by an entire lifetime of fears and memories, or by all the crazy people surrounding you, you are, to the best of your ability, shifting into the moment and just focusing yourself while you do whatever you need to do. Every moment can be turned in to mindfulness and meditation. And you'll be better at it in some moments and worse at it in others. But the idea is that you are always awake to the choice and choosing. But it's like anything else. If you stop doing it, you fall out of practice. So why don't we practice now? Let's do what we've done a million times before in this class. Give your attention to your forehead and crown. Shift yourself to the breath, and you're just going to breathe in this moment, slowing yourself down to the speed of this moment. And nothing has to change. The only thing that's changed is your attention on this moment and your breath as you're breathing in and breathing out. Let the stress be the stress. Let the anxiety be the anxiety. You be the watcher of your breath in this moment. This moment has space for all of that. Nothing to fight against. There's room for all of it. That feeling of wanting to push forward into the next moment, that kind of push feeling, there's nothing you have to do about that. Shift your attention to your breath. Let the feeling take care of itself. Let the heaviness be the heaviness. You be the watcher of your breath. If it wants to sink into the earth, let it. You be the watcher of your breath. Now, as your attention finds its stability in that quiet place, can you just let go of your body a little bit? Just let it relax. There is no secret technique. Just like there's no secret technique for you to raise your arm and put it down. It's the act of a mysterious force we call intent. To shift your attention, there is no how. You just shift. Through intent. How do you stay there? When habit comes in to take you away, you simply intend to stay. And the more you do that, the stronger your intent becomes. It becomes so strong people can feel it. Now just notice. Has it changed at all? For some of you, it's a strong change, but for those of you who came in truly heavy and troubled, notice if it's shifted at all. Because if it has, then going further can shift it more. You can incorporate mantra. You can chant Om on every exhale. There are things you can do to bring it even deeper into your body if your body is giving you a hard time. But the mechanism is always the same. You're using the power of choice. To take back the canvas of your mind and feeling body. You're taking back control of your power, which is the power of awareness, what you pay attention to. Now, when this class has ended and you relax your focus a bit, start to notice if there are habitual parts of yourself that start pulling you down into heaviness or pulling you outwards into anxiety. And just show back up for the moment. Thread this through into the rest of the moments of your night. You might not always be this engaged, but you know, it's like forging a cleaner road forward. You put the iron in the fire and it melts a little bit so that you can shape it, and then you take it out. And then it starts to become something different and you put it back in, and then you take it out. You know, you apply a little pressure and then back off. Apply a little effort and then back off. And it starts to just train the lower levels of the mind to stop tugging you down. Loosens the tethers. But this is the world of entropy. If you just leave life to its thing, you're going to head downhill every time. I had a teacher who used to say, there's no such thing as standing still. Standing still is just the moment before you start to de-evolve. You know, you always need to be just at least a little given to that reach. Just like a flower reaching for the sun, just kind of open and reaching forward with awareness and intent. When you stop, you might feel like you stand still for a second, but it's just the shift into de-evolution. Start to notice that. Yes, it means you never really get to just be done. But you know, life is short. And you learn a lot along the way. So this week, I don't want you to push past your boundaries. I want you to find your boundaries. Try and stay awake. Just right up to that level that you're able. And just kind of stay there, you know? Just stay open right up to that edge. The edge will move. You don't have to do more than you can do. You just have to do what you can do, what you can actually do, with just a little sense of reach at that edge. Gentle reach. Try that this week. Write something down and put it somewhere so that you'll remember, because it'll disappear after a couple of days. Nothing in life is asking this of you. It wants you to do the opposite. It's trying to turn you into soil. And it'll win, eventually. But the point of you having a consciousness in this body is to expand gently. Any questions about any of that before we end? All right, everybody. I'll let you get back to your night. I will be here next Thursday. Have a great week. Bye.
Thanks, Liam.
Mm-hmm.